Actually, this slide deve essere abbiamo deve cancellare.
I think I have images. I have some images. Can you give me your WhatsApp contact?
Okay, così lo ritroviamo WhatsApp and messages. You should before Q session today. Okay, let me.
Okay, that's good. Somebody's learning something like that.
He's doing
Teaching.
chemistry.
Yeah. Yes, that's good. Ó ti dá bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Ẹ ṣé sà. Ẹ ṣé gan. I think we could start.
Actually, there.
All right, sir. Session answer. Yeah. Are we set? Fast. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and you are welcome to the round table of our panel. This panel is on science and the humanities in Africa, an interdisciplinary perspective. And on this roundtable today, I am the chair, and I also have the co-chair with me. My name is Dr. Nathaniel Umilani from University of Ibadan, and I also have my co-chair, which is Mr. Gbolan Mustafa Iskil Arojinle from the Arojinle Media. And the discussants are as follows. The first is Dr. Tunde Adegbola from African Languages Technology Initiative in Ibadan. We also have with us, is online, Dr. Taufik Adebayo. Is an assistant professor in California State University and is the broadcaster on the social media on the program that is known as Science in Yoruba. Also on my left here, I have Mr. Moshood Abib Abiola. Is a broadcaster online and on radio, and his popular program is Biology ni Yoruba. Also online, we have Mr. Adeniyan Akim Uluwafemi. I don't know whether Mr. Akim is there, and he is actually working around mathematics in Yoruba. We also have, okay, I think those are the discussants on this roundtable. The purpose of our discussion is basically to actually bring about, okay, Mr. Akim is online now. Mr. Akim is the popular broadcaster of mathematics in Yoruba. This morning I was reading one of the latest publication of Dr. Taufik, and I discovered that two of my discussants, Mr. Taufik and Mr. Arujinle, were listed in his publication as those people promoting the Yoruba on digital media. Now, this morning, our conversation is to actually to initiate a conversation around how we have been doing concerning using humanities to explain science concepts in the indigenous way. And we are not going to dwell so much on proving the fact that there is science in Yoruba language or indigenous Africa, but we are going to be pushing arguments on how to advance what we currently have so that we will go beyond mere parallelism and we will be advancing thoughts. For instance, in one of my latest publication, I had to interact with the elders. That elder is also a professor. And what pushed me to that elder was that beyond the knowledge that there is knowledge of conservation, of environment beyond that we are knowing that, oh, there is sacred forest to preserve greenery. I asked the professor, who is an indigenous person, that does Yoruba knowledge system, does he have the understanding of plants that preserve the environment? And to my surprise, the professor, who is an elderly person, he combines the two, told me one incantatory poetry line. And the incantatory poetry line in Yoruba was that Ilẹ̀ kì í rorò, kó má gba ìrorò. It's sounding like a rhyme, but ìrorò is a plant. I've forgotten the botanical name. So the professor said that when he learned about the plant, he learned it from an herbalist, an Ifa priest. That Ifa priest told him that when a woman is having marital problem, they are chasing her away from one husband house to the other. That is the plants that they use for concussion, so that the new husband she has, she will be able to stay there no matter how hostile her in-laws are. Because the meaning of that incantation is that Ilẹ̀ kì í rorò. That means even if the land is hostile, the Iroro plants will survive there. So the professor took me to where Iroro is. And as a scientist, I saw that it's a legume. And you know that one of the features of legume is that they have the ability to nodulate. So no matter how the soil is not nutritious, they will be able to fix their own nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium that is required for survival. And after they die, the land will still be having the phosphorus and nitrogen. So my research advanced what I know concerning environmental preservation beyond having indigenous. And within the frame of things now, we discover that the people leading this research and they are educating citizens, they are people who are broadcasting this type of content in the social media. And this actually informed the choice of our participants in this study. So I will start with Mr. Arojinle to ask him what motivated him to initiate the animal documentary in the social media space and radio. Although when we were younger, some broadcasters, they've started doing something. When they are doing Iriaye, they will have a section on animal, 5 minutes, discuss it. But Arojinle came out with a very rich resource for us. So I will allow him to open up and take over the discussion from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Milani. Yes, on my own part, at the beginning, it was almost like the early elders who were doing it started on the radio. And on that particular day, I remember the animal I spoke about was kangaroo. And because it was just a 5-minute segment on a 1-hour program. And I brought out facts about kangaroo that do you know that kangaroos are always perpetually pregnant because they have 2 wombs and 3 vaginas, and they can carry baby in both wombs at the same time while nursing one baby. And someone said, this is good. We have not heard of this before. And then it dawned on me that if I had spoken about lion or about Gabon viper or other animals that are native to Yoruba land, they probably would have heard of it before. But because this is an animal that's not here, that's not native to our land, so that prompted me, because I just finished my master's program, my master's degree program then. So the energy and the zeal to research was really, really hot at that time. And that was why I took it the exact way I would if I was to present a paper in biochemistry. I just took it to this animal documentary, and I started consulting the elders. So initially, before then, I had the interest of start teaching chemistry in Yoruba language, and that was because when I was staying in the north, I saw how the Hausa people, they held their languages, and most of these in most of their schools, the public schools, teaching is done in Hausa language. And I said I would do this in chemistry, but then when I started animal documentary, I said, okay, we can have our own knowledge bank. Meanwhile, the knowledge bank are not new. Majority of these things are resident in our own culture, our language, in our own IKS. For example, some of the example I use when I talk to people are when they say "Ajibete kiboyunku," that a stingray does not die with its pregnancy, which is highly factual. Immediately, a stingray, which they know as Ajibete or Akpatamaja in some part of Yoruba land, is captured, it immediately goes to induced labor and it gives birth. We have Ibiti Okaba, Kasi, Lonje Okaba, that wherever a Gabon viper coils up is where its food comes to meet it. And this is highly factual because Gabon viper does not chase prey. It quietly waits, sometimes for days, can wait for weeks, because they have the ability, because of their slow metabolism, they may not even eat for a month or two and they'll be okay. And so this was what motivated me, that, oh, we really have this indigenous knowledge, but it is not really broadcasted to everyone. And that was what really motivated me. And since then, I've been able to speak on more than 50 animals so far. And we discovered that initially, one of the problems I encountered was on learning and relearning. On some of these animals, some myths were earlier spread around that, oh, when a lion urinates, any animal that goes there cannot go out again. I think some of these myths were also knowledge lost in generations. Originally, what they meant was if a lion should urinate, it marks its territory. And so no other, if a male lion, for example, does that, no other male lion should come there. And so whatever prey comes inside, of course, definitely belongs to that male lion, but it will still have to work to capture the male lion. So along the line, this was lost, and they started saying, oh, any animal that comes in becomes paralyzed or inundated, that it cannot really go out together. And people were arguing, but along the line, when some of them went back and they tested some of the things I've said, I remember one of the most convincing scenario was when we spoke about ball python, and there was this myth that ball pythons are highly hostile in the evening, that at night they will strike, and so I presented a 1-hour program on my radio show, and I took ball python to the studio live at night. I held it. They said, oh, you cannot blast light. I blasted light and I held the ball python while talking. So it's really increased the faith that people had. Oh, this man knows what he's talking about. And now I have kind of become an authority. People come to that, oh, this thing we hear, is it a myth or is it factual? And that proves that people are really ready to learn once they see a source of knowledge that they can trust. Thank you. So to take over, I'll call on Mr. Moshood Abiola Abib, biology in Yoruba. So we'd like to hear from you. What motivated you to start teaching biology in Yoruba and your journey so far?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone, and my greetings to the chairman and co-chairman. Starting biology in Yoruba in the year 2018 was actually prompted by the beliefs of superstition. I had a friend then. Anytime we are having this Ileya festival, we always tell them to keep the bile and pancreas of an e-goat for him. otherwise called Obuko. He said he wants to use it to do the life elongation charm, which we call Madarika. That once the enemy sends any juju to him, it won't attack him. Well, I told him, this bile you are consuming that you are ingesting, do you know the biological constituents of the bile? Well, we were taught biology in school. Pancreas, in Yoruba language, they call it amon. There is not like the Yoruba language and Yoruba people understand the science of amon and oronro. That is why they came about the proverb, amone koma ara eran. Well, but the constituents of this bile you are consuming, do you know its constituents? And do you want to add to the alkali and other constituents in your body? He said I should explain the constituents to him. That is why I explained it to him. But he said, why were they not taught in school like this? I told him, well, the teacher doesn't even understand these biological concepts in his own native language too. So there is no way we understand it to teach the students. And the best way to learn for students is when they learn in a way that relates with their lifestyle. If you are learning a lesson and you cannot relate it with what you are doing in your day-to-day activities, there is no way you will understand it. You will just engage in what the Yorubas call agberu gbeso, lakram lapo. You read only to pass examination. So he said, oh, my friend, why can't you just start educating the masses this biology, since you understand it very well and you studied biology education in school? I said, okay, I'll think about that. Another thing that actually motivated starting biology on radio was when the road of the area I live in Ibadan, Akobo Ojorin, was under construction. I entered this micra from Gates to Akobo, and the micra driver was driving us. Then we encountered a traffic gridlock on the road, and the driver was sneezing. So he said, this road that they are constructing, it's causing malaria. The dust is causing malaria in my body. That's why I'm sneezing. And we had students at the back of the micra. So the students were just smiling, and I looked at the student like this. So do you also believe dust causes malaria? What is the causative agent of malaria and what causes it? The student said, So the driver was right. This dust has caused malaria to many people. I said, dust doesn't cause malaria. There are so many things that can result when you inhale too much dust, but malaria is not one of it. But you said you are a biology student. The student said, our teacher did not teach us that. I now educated the driver. I told him, okay, these are the things dust can cause. Dust can cause allergy. And Yoruba language, they understand the science of allergy to be something that affects you. When a Yoruba person releases their fowl to go and eat outside, they will say, adìẹ mi ń lọ sí, ó lè lọ sí oko èmọ́, fẹ́ni ni adìẹ ń lọ sí oko èmọ́ bọ̀. Now, when we look at that oko èmọ́ too, the herbalist or an Ifa priest makes use of that ẹ̀yin ìyá mi mò ń lọ sí bíbá ẹ má jẹ́ kí ibi tí mò ń lọ yìí hun mi. So I coined that to be something that is allergic to your body. Ohun tí ó lè hun ni, ó ní à ń pè ní allergy. So that dust in your body will affect you. You have nerves inside your nostrils. You have different protectors inside your body that can react when you inhale dust. So this dust you are inhaling is what your body is fighting. That is why you are sneezing. It is not Iba. So allergies is the reason why you are sneezing, not malaria. He now said, when you said allergy is not, malaria is not the thing I'm suffering from since I've been inhaling this dust. What should I do? I said, you have to seek a medical help or make use of your face mask so that you can protect yourself from this dust. And this is what causes malaria. Dust doesn't cause malaria. Now said, why can't you just be teaching us this thing? Because you have explained to me, I understand something today that dust doesn't cause malaria. And I'll go back to the park to explain to fellow drivers that we should be using face masks. It is not only during epidemics like Ebola and coronavirus that we will be protecting our nose with face masks. So, something that affects you, I said, yes, just go and tell them allergy is That was how I started my radio program on Broadcasting Corporation of your state, Oliole FM 98.5. So they accepted us, and it has been a wonderful ride. We targeted secondary school students when we started the program on radio. But to my surprise, most of our secondary school students don't really listen to radio the internet has taken over their time. So that was why we introduced social media to that. Okay, let's use Facebook, TikTok, and other media. And we have really gained a lot of grassroots followers. And there are some areas in Nigeria where we have over 1,000, hundreds of thousands listeners. There are even some remote areas in Oyo State and other southwestern states that they said they will gather around their radio at evening times to listen to that biology in Yoruba language. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So next we go to Mr. Adeniyan Hakeem Oluwafemi, mathematics in Yoruba. He will be addressing us from Zoom. He's online for 5 minutes. You have the floor, sir. Mr. Adeniyan Hakeem.
Good day, Mr. Chairman. I don't know, maybe anybody has been appointed as the chairman. Good day, Dr. Milani. Good day, Mr. Origile. Good day, my biologists in Yoruba and other panelists. I'm very happy to be here. I think I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to appreciate this gathering, because any gathering that aims to develop Yoruba language is very commendable. Because I have very short time, let me go straight to the point. What motivated me, or what drove me to teaching Yoruba, to start teaching mathematics in Yoruba language? It's not far-fetched. The number one reason is that right from my being in this world, right from the time I was born and I was able to speak, I have always been a person that loves Yoruba language. In fact, while I was learning English language, I had always wanted to interpret whatever I had in English language into Yoruba language. I still remember vividly when I was in primary school, the stories that we were told in Yoruba language, they are laws. I rendered them in my own mini books. I tried to copy them in books. And even English stories, I rendered them in Yoruba language because I love the language. That was my primary motivation. But along the line, when I was growing up, I discovered that I was loving Yoruba language more and more, to the extent that when I was in a tertiary institution, my friends noticed and they observed very well that this person loves Yoruba language, because any statement I was trying to make, then I would back it up with a proverb. In fact, they used to call me Baba Olowe, and so on and so forth. In fact, when I talked, someone will say, why didn't you go to study Yoruba language? You should have studied Yoruba language. All these things were motivating me. And to the extent that I was, I can speak Arabic, I learned Arabic, I can speak English. There was a book I wrote. I wrote the book on Arabic and Yoruba numbers. I translated English numbers into Arabic and Yoruba. The book is there, and there is another book I wrote. I translated a textbook in Arabic, into Yoruba and English language. I intentionally included the Yoruba language because of the love I had for the language. And the love was growing. But there was never a time that I thought that I would pick one of the major school subjects to translate into Yoruba language until year 2020, when there was coronavirus pandemic, when everybody had to stay at home. They're staying at home, not being able to go to work, being idle. Then I started thinking, because I started thinking, and all of a sudden there was a thought that came to my mind that, okay, you say you are a master in Yoruba language. Why can't you try to do something? I'm an engineer, so I study mathematics. I study sciences as a mechanical engineer. So I'm very vast in those areas. So I said, okay, since mathematics is a major challenge to people, and I master Yoruba language, why can't I render mathematics in your language? Okay, let me just try a piece and see the reaction of people about this mathematics in Yoruba language. I made a very short video, maybe about 3 minutes video of a short lesson in Yoruba language and mathematics, and I posted it on my personal wall on Facebook. And I saw a very wonderful, positive response about it. Oh, when I saw that people loved it, I decided to have a separate page for mathematics in Yoruba language. Then I posted a particular one, triangle in Yoruba language, where I explained how to get it. And that one went so viral that I was called all over the world. Then I was sure that this is the way to go. So since then, and I thought that I need to have vocabulary. I need to develop vocabulary for this thing I'm doing. So I started developing vocabulary and studying them for all the mathematical concepts. Up to now, I'm still developing and studying them and hoping.
You have 2 minutes more, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Hoping to release a textbook in mathematics in the nearest future. And I should not forget to say this. I am also developing vocabulary in physics. And I hope to come with a very big project in the nearest future about it. So these are my motivations, my love for my mother tongue, Yoruba language. And I believe that if you can apply this, if you can apply knowledge, if you can apply Yoruba language to teach the major subjects, in this country, we are going to advance, because if you look at all the nations that are advancing technologically, we see that they use their indigenous languages. So all the developed countries use their indigenous languages to teach the sciences and whatever they want to teach. And that's why they are developing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Adeniyan. Next, we go for Dr. Taufik Adebayo, Science in Yoruba. You have the floor, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Originally, and all other people who are here. And it's really nice to see all of you. I mean, I've heard a lot of things. I know all of you virtually, but I think it feels really good to be here interacting live with all of you. So with regards to motivation, I would say that, well, right from time, especially when I was in high school, I would say that was when I developed the motivation for rendering knowledge, just any pieces of knowledge into Yoruba language. So usually, I mean, I've said this before in some of the interviews that I've had. Usually, in high school, my friends and I enjoyed Dio Fagunwa a lot. So we talked about it as if we were the author of those classics. So and that was when I started thinking about, how would it be if we are able to discuss science, mathematics, and all of that, forms of knowledge in our own local language. When I got to Obafemi Awolowo University, that university exposed me again to a lot of theories, a lot of ideas and conceptualizations about what we call mother tongue education. And that was, that fascinated me. And especially in 2011, I wrote an article for the Nation newspaper where I argue that our language is not less than any other language, and that African languages are indeed capable of expressing the most complex of scientific ideas. So I think that would be formally the beginning of what we now call science in Yoruba today. That article, I still remember it in The Nation. It was one of my best publications ever because I think it started this whole process. So now, when I started my PhD at Tulane University in 2016, I was able to a fellowship that was actually huge. At that time, a lot of money, involved there. And initially, so it is called community engaged, a fellowship in community engaged scholarship. The whole idea is to do something in the community that would benefit, people, not people from the university, but ordinary people out there. So in New Orleans, a couple of my colleagues were thinking about, doing things in New Orleans, improving New Orleans and so on and so forth. And at first I thought about working with African American students there, maybe introducing them to African culture, developing a program that would help them connect back to their roots in Africa. Then a thought came. I was like, all of this talk that I've been doing, all of these things that I've been, all of the arguments that I've been making, all of this while, perhaps this is the time to start, to start to walk the walk for the talk that I've been talking, right? So I decided that I was going to do something in Nigeria. I didn't know if the fellowship will agree, but I approached our director. I told him, look, I'm interested in translating science into Yoruba, working with other people in Nigeria. And Dr. McBride was like, oh, yeah, that's a very good idea. That was surprising to me because the understanding for the fellowship is that it's going to develop the community for my university. But then I was able to make that, fellowship international. And that was how Science in Yoruba started in 2017. So we started, I came back home, I went back to Nigeria to University of Ibadan and collaborated with, very good colleagues of mine from chemistry, from microbiology, linguistics, and physics. And so we translated the basic science textbook that was published by Learn Africa, formerly Longman. And so we translated that, and then we went to three different schools in Ibadan: Orogun Grammar School, Abadina College, Ajibode Grammar School, and we taught that translation to the students there. Now, the public-facing aspect of this project that we all now know as Science in Yoruba started in 2020, and I think it's the same catalyst that prompted Mr. Akim's Mathematics in Yoruba that actually did mine too. So in 2020, when the COVID pandemic hit, I was actually conducting my field work. I was moving around the Yoruba land, Lagos, Oyo State, Ogun State. At that time, my wife was completing a master's in animal science at FUNAB, and so I had to stay home a lot with my mom, with my kids, and I got bored. I was thinking, so what could we do? What could I do? And that was when I started thinking about the public facing of this project. So in short, the motivation for Science in Yoruba comes from a theoretical background that is called mother tongue education, which believes in using the mother tongue to educate people. What is different now from what I have been doing since 2017 is that we are now focusing on the public. And the question is, why? Why the public? So, and I want to mention that what I'm doing is not only basically just, oh yeah, transmit knowledge and then, let people know what is going on, let them have knowledge of these things. But I think what I'm doing basically is an attempt to revolutionize the linguistic landscape in the Yoruba land. I believe that there are two ways to transform our society. One way is the government using all of its power to enforce Yoruba language instruction. In fact, that would be the fastest medium of transforming our society. However, there is a second way, which could be very, very long and might demand a lot of energy, a lot of work from the citizen. And that is, mobilizing the public, trying to change our culture, our perspective, so that when we change the way that we look at the world,
You have a
then
minute more, sir.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Then we have the opportunity that in the long run, our government can catch up. So if we ourselves as society change the ways that we do things, we talk about science using Yoruba language, we talk about all other forms of knowledge using Yoruba language, then in the long run, we are going to have people from us become the leader and then make the necessary policy that would place our languages at the center of knowledge production. I think I would say that basically that is where all of this is coming from. But I want to end on two notes that I think whatever we're talking about today would revolve around two axes. One will be from the axis of mother tongue education, and the other one will be from the axis of indigenous knowledge system. And I want us to kind of like have a good understanding about how those two axes come together in this conversation. So I will handle that on that note. So thank you very much. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit slow. It's very, very early here in the morning. So thank you.
All right. No, it's not time yet. Now, I was taking notes and I whispered to originally that I would want Baba Adegbola to have more time because I wrote Dr. Taufik 2020, Moshood Abiola 2018, Dr. Adeniyan, Mr. Adeniyan Akim 2020, Bola Mustafa Iskilu 2022. All our efforts as panelists, all our roundtable discussants, their effort is less than 3 years old. I'm sorry, it's between 3 years to like 7 years old. Let's put it like that. But we have a Baba in the house who has put in so much, is a bridge between those of us promoting the language presently and promoting it in the scientific way, and those efforts of people like Kayode Fakile, who did English Yoruba science, the people that have worked directly with Professor Ba Fafunwa. Baba Tunde Adegbola has actually interacted with them. So we'll be giving him 10 minutes to actually harness all our thoughts together and tell us experiences which he has had, since he's like a bridge between the past and the present in terms of using humanities and our languages to explain science. Dr. Tunde Adegbola, you're welcome. You have 10 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much. Please tell me when it's 5 minutes and tell me when it's 7 minutes.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Well, for me, I didn't start out trying to teach science in Yoruba or try to do something spectacular in Yoruba. Well, the motivation for me was natural because I happen to have been fortunate to have parents that gave me great pride in being a Yoruba. My parents were both highly educated people. My father had a PhD. My father was a theologian. And somehow, I never saw him aspiring to be a white man. Never saw my mother trying to be Oyibo. They were so comfortable being Yoruba, and they made me comfortable being Yoruba. So I grew up grounded in Yoruba. Like I said, my father was a PhD holder, but it would have been rude for me to speak English to him at any time. He spoke in Yoruba our whole family spoke one to the other in Yoruba. And it was just the natural language of our home. But when I graduated with a degree in electrical engineering, and I was asking myself, in what way will this, my electrical engineering, impact my Yoruba being in any particular way? So I decided that I wanted to look at the science of speech technology. I thought I should be able to make the computer turn Yoruba speech into writing and turn Yoruba, written Yoruba into speech. So I decided, I started looking at that. And when I started considering it, I thought to myself that Yoruba is one language, one of the few languages that I know that you can speak with a drum and the hearer will understand what you are saying, which means you can communicate Yoruba devoid of the consonants and the vowels, and you can still understand. So I decided to go and take an apprenticeship with some Anyo people. And because they found it rather strange that this Alakowe wanted to be Anyo, they gave me the Anyo name, Anyo Yojuron, and I accepted it. And I discovered very many interesting things about the art and act of the talking drum. I discovered that it was very, very scientific. I discovered that a lot of the things I learned in information theory were embedded in the scholarship of Anyo. And from that point, I just took off. I decided that I was going to try to see the depth of Yoruba scientific understanding. So I decided that whatever anybody told me, whatever anybody mystified for me, I will assume is a part of their own understanding, is a part of their own approach to the problem, and that I should look at it scientifically and see what I can get out of it. And so that's how I created, well, after many years, I created a Yoruba speech recognizer that can convert spoken Yoruba into written Yoruba. And the scientific output that I had was very stunning because I demonstrated that it was, I demonstrated mathematically that it was possible to understand Yoruba devoid of consonants and vowels. Not only did I say it was possible, I actually determined how many syllables you needed to overcome the ambiguity that will make Akande, Alade, Anide, Amao, all of them are the Domi. So how many syllables do you need before the ambiguity can be resolved? So, and when I did that, and I then did the keyboard to be able to type Yoruba on the computer, from the blues, I got a telephone call to somebody discussing with me, and it was about a week later I discovered this man was from New York Times, and he had described what I was doing on almost a full page on New York Times. So from that point on, I got to understand that my future lies in me getting my culture to become at par with the scientific revolution. So a lot of the things that have been said earlier on, I found them really, really interesting. The Arojinle, the things about animals and all that. Because I remember I was the producer at the point of Nkombe by Kola Lawi. And I remember the day Kola Lawi said on Nkombe that the cats don't mate, that they just one jumps over the other. And I was bothered. So I called Richard Attenborough. I wrote an email to Richard Attenborough, and Richard Attenborough sent me videos of all sorts of feline animals, cats of all sorts, lion, tiger, leopard, household cat, mating. And that gave me the impulsion that there is a lot that we need to do to make our culture scientific, to take advantage of the scientific essence of our culture. And the way I look at things now, I have there's a way I summarize what I have seen, and that is efficacy devoid of explicability is the seedbed for mysticism. There are lots of things that our forebears knew and they did and they perfected them. They know how to make things happen. But for various reasons, one of them being slavery of over 300 years, colonization. For 300 years, the brightest and the best of our people, the cognoscenti, the ones that knew, were taken away as slaves. So there was that gap, that knowledge gap between those who knew how these things happen and those who are coming behind. And because our knowledge management was essentially by orature, it was by memorization and recitation. So when you take one human being out of
you have 3 minutes more,
knowledge
sir.
management, all right. You take one person out of that system, you have just killed the system because there are no books that can pass on the information. The people had the information, they put them in Oriki, they put them in Iwegun, they put them in they put them in Rimoje, they put them in all these genres. But it was essentially by memorization and recitation. So what I think we need to get out of this gathering is there is a need for coordination. Each of us working in silos will not solve the problem. I come from a broadcasting background, and I experienced news in Yoruba because I had the duty of monitoring various stations in my vicinity. One single word, one single concept. 3 radio stations, 3 television stations will use various names for them due to the way the person who translated and who presented it in Yoruba feels. We need to take care of that. In South Africa, where they have 7 or 11 standard languages, they have an organization called the Pan-South. This is Pan-South African Vocabulary Organization. Every new word that comes into science, they translate into these 7 languages. And that is what everybody uses. So even if the whole of Nigeria cannot come together to do this, because these are some of the things in the language policy, but for us, a one language speaking community, we owe it to those coming behind us to standardize this thing and put it all together. And just in conclusion, I suspect many of you must have seen my viral video on Oriki Ofa, where I demonstrated that those who came before us understood the concept of algorithm. Yeah. They understood even the more complex idea of recursive algorithm, which is one of the core algorithms we use in artificial intelligence today. So if we do not come together, standardize this thing, make it possible for our people to understand science in their native understanding, we might be continuing to slow down our advancement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It's like you know where we're actually going for the next round of questions. The next round of question is, it borders on creation of words and terminologies. As at now, it is a soloist effort. And so I think Dr. Adegbola has briefly spoken on it, but then I need to hear from all of us. How do we have harmony so that whatever I call, the other time he called allergy, although I would like to advocate that or should be used. I think the word should be or is another word. Be he or creation or so. So I think allergy should be or So how yes. So how do we have harmony so that all of us can start using the same word for the same terms? I'll start with Dr. Taufik because he's a linguist, and I think a little the one that we've been able to achieve so far is millions, billions, trillions in mathematics. I think so far all content creators that I know that are doing trying to preserve and push Yoruba indigenous knowledge system have adopted the ẹgbẹ̀rún, ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀, ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀jì, ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ta. And Dr. Taufik started that. I think I was the first person to adopt it, and then other people like Maso Imbo and other Yoruba content creators and IKS proponents started using. So Dr. Taufik, how do we have harmony in when terms are created? How do we stop going forward as soloists and having concerted efforts so that whatever they hear you call friction is what I would call friction and is what Yoruba biology in Yoruba would call friction? 2 minutes for each discussant.
Okay. Thank you so much for that question, Mr. Rujele. So first, I would like to mention that Professor Kola Wolabi from Seoling has been making tremendous efforts in this regard. I'm aware of some of his endeavors to actually work with the state government in Yoruba land. It's not the first time, it's not, 2 times that he has tried this, going to the state government for them to create a kind of like a particular body that would actually, see to standardizing some of the new terms that are actually coming up. As at this time, I am not sure that has actually been, the state government, I'm not sure they have listened to him yet. But I know that it still continues to push for that. So that would be a very, very good initiative if we are able to, get the state government to create such a body. And I think, Professor Kalawalabi with the Seoling Center is already poised to be able to fill that gap. It's just that the official, recognition or the official formal establishment of that body is yet to be seen. Now, with that said, one way that I think I have been contributing to this is that, as a linguist, I go on different places online looking for new words, and actually I have a book project that is ongoing to document all of the new words that are coming into the language. So I'm scanning through BBC News Yoruba, I'm scanning through Alaroye to see if there is any word. The other day I saw which is basically their words for electronics. So I documented that. So when I see a new word being used on by Arojinle, a new word being used by Mr. Akim Adeniyan, I document them. However, as a linguist, I understand that language is not just a one-man show. It is possible for you to think that, oh yeah, I think this is what should be. However, we need to also test its acceptability. What if you create the word, but people do not like it? And so what I have tried to do is to subject all of those new words that I see to that test of acceptability. For example, as we speak in the next 20 minutes, there's going to be a video on my page about what should we call triangle. So, for example, in one of the books that Professor Afolayan and others create, they call triangle, Ligumeta. But now there is another word that I see on Mr. Akim Adeniyo's page, which is etagun. Now, what I'm doing in that video is asking people and trying to see which one actually clicks best with them, asking them which one should we use, etagun or onigumeta. So that's basically what is going on. I have a book that is ongoing, and then maybe we can have something from. Thank you.
So, Mr. Moshood Abiola, so how do you create your words, and how do you think we can achieve unified terms for this concept?
Well, I have some elders I consult concerning the use of Yoruba language words to explain biological sciences. Because our elders told us Yoruba language is a contextual language. And if we are to go with the lingua franca of the Yoruba people, we use the Yoruba Oyo generally in Yoruba land. So the explanation you give on radio might not be one that someone from Ilesha will easily understand. So this is why I consult, as Dr. Taufik said, Professor Kola Olabi of the Center for Yoruba Language Engineering, University of Ibadan, has been so helpful. And is also the one that is helping us to review the biology in Yoruba textbook that we've written but yet to publish. Also, Professor Duro Adeleke of the University of Ibadan is one of the people we consult to get some right words to use for some biological terms. And we consult butchers in the markets to get the right Yoruba words for some organs of animals. Because we cannot say we want to bring Yoruba language to the grassroots. Sorry, we want to bring biological science to the grassroots without considering the people on the streets. So we use the Yoruba that is easily understood by even the people living in the rural area and the urban area. Because the students we say we are teaching, some of them don't even have a deep understanding of the Yoruba language and English. So if you are using ancient Yoruba word to teach them, it will be as if you are creating a new problem while trying to solve just one. So what we do is we use context to explain biological concepts to our audiences. For example, a word like DNA is not from the Yoruba culture, and it is very hard for you to just call DNA a single Yoruba name. But Yoruba people know what we call akaba, a ladder, and the biologists will tell you a DNA looks like a rung of twisted ladder. So we call DNA okun atọ́nà ìṣẹ̀mí tó fi ara jọ àkàbà ẹlẹ́lọ̀. Akaba means ladder. Elo means twisted. So we make that context a word so that people can easily relate with, okay, a ladder is actually having some steps, and DNA also has strings inside of it. So using the context of Yoruba language, we explain biological science to our audience. And as I've said earlier, Professor Kola Olabi has been so helpful. Thank you very much.
Mr. Adeniyo Akim, so how do you create your terms, and how do we achieve homogeneity?
Yes, thank you very much, sir. And I think the question basically is, how do we synergize in making sure that we harmonize our translations of English concepts, and particularly scientific concepts, into Yoruba language?
Yes, but we'd like to know how you come about your terms first.
Okay, thank you. How I come about my term is that I'm a polyglot. I speak Hausa, I speak Arabic, I speak English, I speak Yoruba language, and a little of French. So from the experience, I Whenever I want to translate a concept, if I'm not able to do that easily in Yoruba language, I look into Hausa language. How do they coin their own word? I look into Arabic. How do they coin their own word? From that, I can get a clue. Another way I do is to look at the etymology of a word. If I want to translate a complex word from English to Yoruba language, I will look at the etymology of that word. I will look at how it was coined. It might be coined from Latin. What was the original meaning in Latin? From that, I will get my own. Then I look at the morphology and all those things. And I also look at what people commonly use around. Then after doing all that, I will test it. I will test it with people around me to see the acceptability. But what I want to suggest now is that because everybody believes, and it is the correct position, that this thing cannot be done alone. Anything that is being done for the community cannot be done alone. We need to synergize. So if that will be done, I think the starting point should be creating a platform that will combine all the people who are highly interested in this project. You can call the platform Yoruba Professional Translators. You can create a WhatsApp platform. From there, we can discuss further. We can, if anybody comes across a new word, if he has a suggestion, you can throw it open to others in the platform, and we can debate it. At the end of the day, we'll come to a conclusion. We can decide there that, okay, let's throw this thing to the public and see their reaction to it. So by so doing, at the end of the day, we can become the machine. We can become the Yoruba words producing machine.
Thank
for
you.
the whole Yoruba community.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So, Babadi, let's listen to Dr. Tunde Adegbola, his own suggestion for harmonization.
Thank you very much. I think to start with, I believe we should go back to the basics because a lot has been done before we came on the scene. Look at this. A vocabulary of
primary science and mathematics
in 9 Nigerian languages.
Wow.
This work was done by the likes of Ayoba Ngoshe, Baba Wobului, many others, even before the Kola Labis of this world. So we have this there. And it was done with a lot of thought. This is another book. Science near the Yoruba. This is a Yara Falakobere for first-year medical students. Anatomy for beginners. This is a English Yoruba Science Technology Handbook by Kayode Fakinledi. This is a English Yoruba Science Dictionary. Look at the thickness. 560 pages with illustrations. We cannot wish away this existing work.
Yes, sir.
And if we do not take account of them, we will bring words and people will go back some of these and there will be confusion. So I agree with the idea of starting a platform, even though there are a number of platforms. For example, at the moment, I belong to 2 or 3 platforms. There will be a need to coalesce all these efforts and then get a kind of core group to go back to all these 4 or 5 books I've shown here are only just a few. The very many books I have here, the 6-year primary education by Baba Fafunwa and Baba Folayan, who died about last year.
Yes,
they also have books in which all the terminologies have been documented. So we need have a kind of core group that will list all these out. Luckily, we are in the computer age. We can put all these on the computer. We can ask the computer to store it, look for common with the ones that are common, bring a terminology, and list all the various words that have been used for that terminology together so we can debate and after all now come with one comprehensive vocabulary of Yoruba science.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Fakinle, when he started writing the chemistry. Yes, thank you.
Now, I would love us to look at the second part, which is the indigenous knowledge system, the choice of the knowledge system that will be transmitting. You know, with my little experience in the core sciences which I belong, as well as science education, we are boxed into parallelism such that it is the Western-made science that is determining what we will refer to as indigenous knowledge. Whatsoever does not scale the Western-made science, we would not call it, because the purpose of science education is for people to learn, most especially people learning in the formal setting, primary, secondary, not citizen science education that are just learning. Now, what it means now is that anything that does not fit in to what the Western made science has called scientific knowledge is either we categorize it as myths or misconception, and they don't find a place in our identified knowledge system. But I will speak about the myth before I give every discussant 1 minute that which knowledge do we prioritize? We have seen language now. The role of language has been discussed. Now, in the area of myth, I discovered that efforts by broadcast journalists to speak about the myth in Yoruba knowledge system or indigenous knowledge system is always tilting towards a bit of, it's somehow derogatory when they refer to what the original knowledge system says. And as a chemist, if somebody is talking about Thomson's model, that Thomson model says that electron is like an atom is like a donut, and it has positive and negative charges around it, plus minus. It was Rutherford that made us to know that there is a nucleus and the electrons are orbiting around it. In chemistry, when this is being taught, there is nobody that refers to Thomson's model as a myth, but it is always referred to as an explanation that was growing. But when somebody who is dealing with an indigenous knowledge system finds a Yoruba explanation of a phenomenon that is not accurate, they don't actually put those knowledge system the way the Western made science will categorize Thomson's explanation. Even in the curriculum, you will still find Thomson's explanation of what an atom is. And they will now say after him, somebody now came to explain this. So what I'm saying is that in a very short minute, because we have spent so much time explaining the language component, I want each participant, each discussant to tell us what do we now choose as the knowledge system of the Yorubas or indigenous that is eligible to be showcased in science. I will start with Mr. Arujinle so that he could have time to talk about. We will give you time, 10 minutes. There are 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes to discuss as
75-year-old and a retired professor.
We
You
would
want to deceive yourself that we get some 75-year-old.
no, Prof, sir. Please, we scared. Prof, I'm so sorry. We are going to. Okay, we would give you chance after we do 1 minute. We are so sorry. Thank you. So let's start with our. We have not done anything. Prof, we will give you time. I'm sorry, sir. Oh yeah, let's give Arujile 1 minute and Professor Adegbola 1 minute so that we can allow Prof to talk. about
right.
those two things.
So on that, I think our indigenous knowledge system, every part of it that we want to bring out, we'll subject it to scrutiny. Are they factual? Are they myth? And I think I've been doing that to my students, quote and unquote, now. When I say, oh, this is not like this is the way it is. Some people start the phrase, Irola Yoruba level, and I told them I'll block whoever utters that or makes that comment, because I think it's not just our indigenous knowledge system. Even in the scientific, the Western knowledge system, there's always a renewal going on. Every knowledge system is polished as time goes on, as new information. I mean, until 2003, appendix was regarded as a vestigial organ that has no use. It is just recently that we just discovered that it harbors. So I think what we do is, when we still put forward our own IKS, but then we make explanations on new discoveries and let people know that it does not mean that our own knowledge system are not good enough, but every knowledge system gets better with time.
All right, thank you. I'll give, we won't go around, but I'll give Dr. Adegbola a minute. Then I will give Dr. Taufik a minute to speak on the same. You know, it's two components, and afterwards we will take Prof's submission. Thank you. So Dr. Adegbola, then Dr. Taufik.
I started on that efficacy devoid of stability is a seedbed for mysticism. We need to have a clear understanding of the difference between mystery and mysticism. Something is a mystery if we don't understand it yet. But something is if we ab initio, we think it's spiritual, it's supernatural, and things like that. There is nothing in Yoruba past that says that you cannot perform experiments. So whatever knowledge we have, whatever is passed down to us, if we want to treat it scientifically, we must take it as something that can change. These are some of the tenets of science. You don't hold on to science religiously. If you hold it on to a position religiously, then it is a mere belief. But knowledge is justified through belief. Every knowledge starts as a belief. Then you justify it. Then you demonstrate that it's true. And you justify that it's true. It's not just because 2 + 2 and 2 × 2 are the same. 3 + 3 and 3 × 3 should be the same. You must be able to demonstrate that. So fundamentally, we should be able to make that clear distinction between mystery and mysticism. Mystery is what we don't understand. Mysticism is what we have decided to be mystical.
So let's go.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we already have a schedule, so we will accommodate other people who are not discussants written in the book for the next 20 minutes. So we would like to start with you, sir, concerning the conversation we've been having all day. Could you help me move the mic? Okay, it will pick. All right. So let's have you, sir, introduce yourself. Yes, sir.
Professor Timothy. Now, I'm a student of academic française, dictionary making in the 16th century. And I've just finished, because even when I was in Sorbonne, I didn't take them serious. Now, you want me to introduce my own grandfather who gave birth to me is Babada Wufa. And she went to Ile-Ife to learn all these tenets of Babada Wufa.
3 minutes.
Now, she was knowledgeable enough to make me the son of his daughter he gave birth to at Ile-Ife to be the man writing àwọn oògùn àti nǹkan tó máa fi ṣe wọ́n. So it's a big book that I wrote for Papa. After writing it, the man was so knowledgeable. He said, Jide, ká nǹkan tó kọ fún mi ká nǹkan tó kọ fún mi láti ilé so that ìgbà tí n bá kú àwọn èèyàn lè mọ rírì iṣẹ́ tí mo ṣe nílé Ifẹ̀. You know. Now that's the background of who I am. Ó máa ń ṣí gbẹ́rẹ́ sí mi pé ọ̀rọ̀ pọ̀tọ̀ kẹ́mi ṣùgbọ́n ayé mi ṣẹ̀rọ̀ níwájú Oṣoolé so that mi ní gbàgbé nǹkan kan. You know. So it's somebody who has been in this, not only professor of languages, you know, who that I am, but who has a grandfather who is into all this, what you are a small boy, you are compared to Papa now. And I was smart and smart evolved to be the one writing those dictionaries. When I came back from Paris, they said it's principalities and powers that they burnt it. You can see what they burnt. So I was HOD for 6 years in the University of Lagos because of the passion I have for knowledge. I'm from Kaba, the Goya family. And my great-grandfather's title is Obaroko.
So where do we get the book now? It's burnt already.
I know where it's burnt, but the dictionary I've done now is in the life there.
Okay, is it available online?
I'm not sure.
I think that's
the
key.
It's a dictionary of modern Kaba.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Dictionary of modern.
Thank you very much. We want other online participants to actually join the conversation before we allow. I don't know whether Dr. Kayode Fakilede is online. I invited him. I'm not sure whether he's one of the attendees. Dr. Fakilede. Okay, he's not online. Is there anybody who has raised hand online?
I think you mentioned Dr. Adebayo before, but
yes. Hello.
No.
You mentioned him, but you didn't.
You mentioned.
Who is Dr. Adebayo?
Dr.
Please, we would allow it. Dr. Taufik. Dr. Abdul Wasiu Omotosho. Let's take Dr. Omotosho.
That's one question.
Dr. Omotosho.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to appreciate all the panelists for wonderful contributions. And at this point, what I just want to bring to our notice is to have a proactive approach to this conversation. What Dr. Adebola has actually said to come back to the basis, the foundation of what has been done in the past towards the coordination of what we are doing when it comes to the development of all these terminologies and vocabularies, at least, because this effort, as we are doing it, to be honest, a lot has been done in the past. The moment you come across a work or somebody, maybe a book, I will just look at it as far back as many years this has been done, and we can't even find it. So we can appreciate those efforts if you are not able to put them together. No matter how much we are doing individually, it still have to become something fruitful when we have a harmonized effort. So we should bring something proactive. It may be after this now, something that will bring a sign that, okay, everything we have discussed in this session is coming out live and something tangible is actually coming out of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would love Dr. Taufik Adebayo to speak to the IKS component of our, we've dealt with the language component and we are presently considering the IKS component. After that, I would like Mr. Moshood and Mr. Adenion to also contribute. Let's make our contribution less than 2 minutes each.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think, as I mentioned, that the project that I'm doing is basically coming from the point of view of mother tongue education, where language is the primary focus. However, that doesn't preclude including indigenous knowledge system. And we can do this in various ways, you know. So an example is like, you know, when I talk about gravity, for example, the word that we use for gravity now is basically Ofa Lala Toroke. Some people shorten it to Lala. And that's telling you like language in process, right? Even though someone call it Lala Toroke for convenience, some people are simply just saying Lala in their conversation about gravity. So what that means is that in the lexification of scientific terms, you know, we can bring in indigenous knowledge system in that regard. Lala Toroke basically just comes from a proverb, Lala Toroke ile lumbo. All right. So those are the that's one of the ways that we can bring in indigenous knowledge system into this, and even in our explanations of scientific concepts. So if there is anything that we find, if we find any correlates in our indigenous knowledge system, we bring it in. And I think really Arujula is actually doing that very in a very good way. You know, some of the animals he talks about, you know, you have, you know, some indigenous component there. So we can do that. But how do we do that without devaluing that knowledge of our forefathers? I think one way to kind of like do this is to emphasize in our explanations the gradualness and the updatability of knowledge. Emphasize that to people that, you know, what you're saying, it's not like the scientific knowledge that we're talking about, modern science that we're talking about, developed just all of a sudden. It was gradual. And so reminding people that gradualness nature of knowledge, I think, would go a long way. So, you know, using proverbs like "Ogbon Oduni, Wiri me," all right. I think you know, things like that can help us navigate that very you know, tricky part of not devaluing our own knowledge system while we are transmitting modern science. So that's basically.
Thank you. That proverb myself and Arujile, we just spoke about that same proverb, indicating that in both systems, knowledge is tentative. Agbonri Esin, Oúnjẹ lọ́bẹ̀, and all of those things. I would love to have Mr. Moshood Abiola's submission on the subject of what do we pick?
Well, thank you very much, Chairman. If we want to explain the present, we have to give reference to the past. And also we should find a way to incorporate the indigenous knowledge system into the modern science through the way we explain those terminologies in science. For example, the Yoruba people also have their own science, and the saying, "Aori eje, aori omira," gives a deep knowledge of the amniotic fluid and the blood, which shows the Yoruba people understand the concept of gestation, childbirth, and others. So when we want to explain a topic like reproduction, we can find a way to incorporate this proverb into the explanation so that we won't erase that indigenous knowledge system we have. So we can use what we are doing currently to explain the IKS. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Akin Adeniyan, please.
Thank you very much. I think what we are discussing basically now is how do we differentiate between myth and scientific knowledge. I think before something can qualify as a scientific knowledge, it needs to pass through some stages. Number one, you need to identify the problem. Then you need to gather some literature review upon it. You research what are the previous works on it. Then the third one, formulate a hypothesis that you want to test in order to verify the knowledge. Then when you have your hypothesis, then design the method you want to use for your research. There should be a method you want to use. You cannot just say something is a knowledge without the method that you have used to verify the knowledge. And then you have to collect data that you are going to use. Then you analyze the data, interpret your findings, draw conclusions. And the most important thing is that your research should be verifiable. It should be replicable. Anything you can call science should be replicable. If it is not replicable, it doesn't qualify. It doesn't matter if it is indigenous or not. It doesn't matter which language, if it is Yoruba, French, Hausa, it must be verifiable, replicable by others. You must be able to repeat it anywhere, anytime. So if it can pass that test, it qualifies to be a scientific knowledge and not just ordinary myth. Or if it cannot be verified, for example, somebody telling us that cats don't mate, they don't actually mate, they just cross over one another. So that thing can be tested. Let's put two cats together, male and female, and continue to watch them without allowing them to mate, and seeing them that they will not mate and one of them will get pregnant. If you see that this is not possible, then we can still verify that, okay, they are actually mating before they can get pregnant. So I think what we need to do now is to make sure that every knowledge is verified, whether in Yoruba language or English language, before it can qualify to be a scientific knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I want to add a bit to the discussion. And what I'm going to add is that we must understand some of the limitations of the Yoruba indigenous knowledge system. You know, in science, we have the macroscopic observable realm, and we have the submicroscopic. For instance, in biology, you can't have a vivid explanation of the meiotic division that takes place in our own knowledge because it is actually left to God. Anything that is submicroscopic, because they will say, Ọlọ́run ló mọ bí ọmọ ṣe ń dàgbà nínú aláboyún. Because the Yoruba knowledge system does, and that's why there are limited knowledge about space science too, in terms of terminology to use, because they leave those things to God. But in terms of, so anytime we are presenting the knowledge system in some cases, we must, for example, the example I have given on meiotic division, some concepts in chemistry, you may not have exact knowledge system that is totally parallel, talking about the meiotic division, the complex formation of salt ions, and all of those things, because they are not the terrain. But look at in anatomy, at times they may not know that there is actually a hair drainage, a drainage tract that goes from the high gland to the nose. But they will say, Ontoba Bauju Abaimu. Although they don't have the anatomy of that duct that connects the two. They don't have a name for it. I mean, I see Prof shaking his head. They may not have a name for the duct that I'm explaining. That's what I'm trying to say. But they know. Sir? Let me hear.
Don't know the name.
Okay. Let me say I don't know the name. But I mean that I don't know the name, and I've not heard people talking about the name of those things, because in medical science, there are things in the gland level, and that duct is submicroscopic. And so what I'm saying is that anytime we are explaining these things to the audience, we must make sure that we make them to know that we are not drawing exact parallel, but we are making an effort to actually explain. But let me give it to Dr. Adigbola very quickly, because I've heard him say.
I just want to say that there is a lot that our forebears knew that we don't know anymore.
Oh, yes.
They are the ones that say, I mean, we present day Yoruba may not have data to be able to dissect a virus, but the language suggests that they have some insight into some of those things maybe not even directly, but through proxy.
Yeah.
And these all are valid scientific processes.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I said that gland that connects the eyes to the nose, I don't often see the exact name. You understand what I'm saying? But they have the proxy understanding pé ohun tí ó bá bá ojú yóò bá imú, because of that's what I'm trying to say.
They
So
understand the connection.
they understand that there's a
eyes
connection. So let me have your thoughts and yours first and his. Our technical people have, so they will extend for us. That's the bribe for taking your question. You will extend our Zoom for 5-10 minutes more. Yeah. Let's.
Thank you so much for our professors and for that wonderful contribution. So I just have a couple of questions to ask about. Professor Adegbola showed us a couple of books. Okay, my name is David Olusanjo. I'm a PhD student in FIU. So my question is is it possible to digitize the books? You showed us a couple of books. I think those books are very compelling and great books that could help primary level students, secondary level students, and so probably on Amazon or there's no accessibility of those books because I'm quite sure that this is the first time I'll see those books. And I wish I had read those books. Perhaps they could enhance one's knowledge of Yoruba or thereabout. And my second question is, we have this knowledge in a disparate form. We have biology in Yoruba, we have different chemistry in Yoruba, and not only in Yoruba, also in Igbo. I've seen Igbo stand and Hausa stand of this. Languages and explaining those scientific concepts. So is it possible to have a knowledge-based system? Perhaps we have where we integrate all this knowledge instead of having a disparate form. Should have an integrated system. Perhaps maybe on Google Form where you can just go on science in Yoruba, chemistry in Yoruba, which have in well coordinated, integrated form. So those are my questions. And then lastly, is about professionalization of this knowledge. For instance, I stumbled into in a very big mess now because I have to do my research interpret in Yoruba because I want to collect data in Yoruba. Now I need someone to help me to interpret my research essays are including that insisting that they have to see the Yoruba version, Hausa version, Igbo version of what I want to do because I want to clear my data in Nigeria. Now they ask me to get a translator and to certify that. And I wonder where do I get these things certifying Yoruba? And I have to provide those documents and those certificates that okay, what I'm doing in English, I want to use to collect my data because Nigeria is not English speaking. People speak different languages, and I can't just collect data from English-speaking people alone. So, can we have probably a certified body? Because I think we call mentioned having a professional of Yoruba. They can actually monetize this platform, and perhaps you have people coming from diaspora and want to get knowledge, indigenous knowledge. They probably monetize that in Yoruba or interpretation. So those are my observations. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Let's take the next question.
So I just wanted to make a clarification.
Yes, sir.
On the point that Dr. Adegbola was making.
Yes.
Beyond the proxy, my name is Dr. Shimon Williams. Beyond the proxy by which a group of people can know something, Dr. Adegbola is also making the point that there are things that have been known within the culture that are now lost to the present generation. Yes. That is, there are things that have been known and known to the exact, but because the knowledge is preserved in oral form or different kinds of form that are not fixed, that have been lost now. So it is not just about knowing these things in proxy, but some of them have been known directly, not vicariously, and known to the exact, but the transmission over generations, many of these things have been lost. Then this now connects to the challenge that I want to pose to all of you who are doing this work. How are you brainstorming and finding solutions to the problem of funding? Funding is very critical to promoting and advancing this project.
Yes.
How are you trying to find solutions to pull together funding to be able to do the things that you do?
Now, to start, that's what your question and his question, Prof showed us 5 books now. The point is that every of those books you saw were individual efforts. The government is not responding, most of them. the government is not responding. So that collective effort, including what Prof has identified as his own effort, that collective effort can only come if the government gets a funding down, come people like Professor Adegbola, Professor Asobele, what's the name of that professor? Olabi?
Professor Kola Olabi.
Kola Olabi, the other prof, Duro Adeleke, and they now call some of us here, okay, if that does not happen, this soloist effort is likely to go on. That's number one, because the point is that the rallying point is very, very crucial in the narrative that we are having. If there is no a rallying point for us, and that will inform all of us in the room. Will make a closing remark from biology in Yoruba, Arojinle, and all of us online that are discussant. We make a closing remark. But the question my colleague from Florida International University has just asked is Mr. Timothy, is that how do we have a certification body that will certify that this thing has been well translated and this is the agreed upon terminology? And that will never happen until we coalesce, until the soloist effort here and there, the one on Kaba, the one Prof has showed us that is in the past, that he has showed us several things in the past. Mr. Abdullahi has showed us things in the past. The coalition of these will now make us to have a validated, and it is very important that self is taken out of the way. You see, the person organizing this conference, he does not promote himself. He's always at the back. He doesn't put himself in the front in many. So I would not say I must put myself. When I wanted to organize this panel, I said, I need somebody from the town. And that was how I brought in my very wonderful brother, Arojinle. And he has to make his own contribution. We came together in my office, we read each of the abstracts, we discussed it. So self-glorification that I am the one that did this must be out of the way. Let's have closing remark, starting from Mr. Moshood, Mr. Arojinle, then we take people online. And online, let's do the order of Mr. Taufik, Dr. Taufik, Mr. Akim, and finally we have Dr. Adegbola. Yeah. So let's start with you. Your closing remarks. Sir.
So thank you very much. So
2 minutes.
We actually appreciate the efforts of the people that have really worked concerning developing Yoruba language and also science development in Nigeria and also in Yoruba land. We give kudos to our prof too, Professor Tunde Adegbola. And also personally, I give kudos to the late Professor Babs Fafunwa.
Yes.
For the research he conducted at Ife then. So I give kudos to Arojinle Media too for the effort he is making in ensuring our people understand the concept of Yoruba language and also as it relates with animal science. Well, we should all do our own bit to ensure Yoruba language keeps developing and also to ensure we will contribute to the development of science in Nigeria. Because science literacy is one of those things that will ensure we give the needed knowledge to our masses. Because if you understand science very well, you will see that it will give rise to more development. If science is taught in native Yoruba language, people will understand it. And as it is done in China and other countries, it will develop. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On my final remark, I think those of us here, we need to find a way to link up and then connect with people from the past. Those we cannot connect with physically, we connect with them through their works so that before we have the government coming in, we will continue to do the ones we can. For some of us, our works are even getting used in schools. I get called many times that some of my documentaries, I used to explain some concepts that relate to biology, chemistry, and all in classes and all. And I was really happy when I saw the books that Dr. Adegbola. I've not heard of those books before today. That's just a fact. And Doctor, I'll be running to your office very soon. To your office because these are what we need to do to get the language and the IKS forward. I think we'll continue to do our best individually, and we need to link up together so that we can have a concerted effort. Thank you very much.
Dr. Taufik.
We are still here.
Okay. So
we are still here. I'm saying that I came here because of the dictionary that I'm writing. And why I came here is that I'm a student of French academy. And every Thursday, one word, they will debate one word before they put it in the dictionary of French academy. 1635. I cannot go to France and be getting 16 over 20 and come back home not developing my own language. That's why every one of us should key into the fact that let's come as a French academy, Yoruba academy, and debate even biology, sciences, and the rest of them.
Very interesting, sir. Very interesting.
So that we debate them and have a glossary of biology, Yoruba glossary of biology,
Thank you.
Yoruba glossary of log, Yoruba glossary of...
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let's take Dr. Taufik. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. I would just like to appreciate every one of us here for coming together and all of the ideas that we have shared. I would like to close this with the observation that, or with the note that I mentioned that I'm working on a book. It's a book of glossary for one of the series here. It's called Language Science Press. And what I've been trying to do with that is to now kind of like collect all of those words, the books that Dr. Adegbola showed, extract all of the words in them. But yes, they are from the past, right? But the thing about language is that it evolves. Let me give you an example. So in one of the books, the one that Dr. Adegbola showed, I think it's Science and Technology Vocabulary in 9 Nigerian Languages. Bomb is regarded as afonja, a lot of sense, right? But today, people no longer use that. People use adoloro for bomb. So part of the work that I'm trying to do is to harmonize them and then subject those words from the past to the acceptability of the people of the present and see which one they will likely use. And so that's basically what I'm working on. And I want to say that, I think we need a platform, as people have suggested, where we can, interrogate each other about which terminology have you been using. I heard biology in Yoruba saying something about DNA as akaba ilelo or something like that. In the work that I've been doing, it's we've been using chemical atoka, which is basically shortened to kai. But I think these are the kind of like harmonization that we need, and part of that is testing the acceptability with people. So thank you very much, everyone. I would like to hand on that note. Are you saying something, Dr.?
Yes, I want to say, I wrote it down. He called it okun atono isemi to jo akaba elelo.
I think that's definition.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the definition. So I mean, at the end of the day, which one should we use? I think would probably depend on people's judgment.
Thank you. Dr. Akim. Your closing remark. Mr. Akim, sorry.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you very much, sir. I want to express myself. I want to express my joy of being here today. I'm very happy. And I want to thank those who have organized this program wonderfully well. They have done a great job, and it's a very laudable program. And I've gained a lot here today. But on the final note, I hope that the platform will be created. I mean, the platform for Yoruba professional translators or whatever name you decide to choose, that will combine all the people that are well interested here and some other people. We can start from there. New ideas can generate. We can cooperate together and can fashion out many things. Even without involving the government, there might be some ways to raise money, to raise funds, to do whatever thing we want to do. Thank you very much. I hope to hear from you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Tunde Adegbola, sir, your closing remark.
Thank you very much. I just want to express how gratified I am to find so many like hands in this festival. It is really, really interesting for me, and I find some fulfillment in the fact that other people see the need to take this thing seriously. And I'd like to congratulate everybody here for the great work they have been doing, for the love of knowledge, for the love of our heritage, for the understanding that there's enough in our heritage to devote our emotional energy to. For the talking about funding, yes, there's the government is not looking at this, but we need to go beyond that. Like you said, all these things that have been done were done by people's personal effort. Only a few days ago, I was in touch with Dr. Pakinlede, trying to find out how he can reproduce all these books and how he can arrange to make them available for people to buy. So all these people have been doing a lot. But one thing is that if you take long enough doing something worthwhile, people will find you. People will find you. Only last, towards the end of last year, one of my old students got arranged and got funding for us to do a project we've been wanting to do for many years, running into close to hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you stick with it and you do it seriously and people see evidence that you are doing good work, funding will come. It may not come from the Nigerian government because their priorities are different, but there are sufficiently serious people all over the world who know that what the Yoruba are throwing away, that there are values in them for global scholarship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I want to start by saying that I'm very grateful to all our discussants online and on site. I want to thank all of us, starting from Dr. Tunde Adegbola, Dr. Taofeek Adebayo, Mr. Moshood Abib Abiola, Mr. Adeni Akim Oluwafemi, and Mr. Bola Mustafa Iskil. Definitely, we will start by three of us that are physically present here. We're in Oyo State. I'm UI. He's also, he has his own personal broadcast and works with Fresh FM, BCS. Prof. Adegbola is also in Ibadan. So three of us will start with a physical meeting with Professor Adegbola. Then from there, we'll begin to take it off. We'll fix a date that we can come and have a long conversation that we wouldn't rush to our businesses and lectures. Thank you very much. Next year, this panel we hold, and I would love to have Dr. Taofeek WhatsApp number via email. There's something important. I read your paper this morning. Yeah, that was where I knew that Arojinle is leading in terms of followership. I saw the data. I think you are over 1 million now.
Yeah.
Yes. That time you collected the data, it was 970 something thousand. And Biomass in Yoruba is also part of the data. So we would, there's something I want us to discuss about this panel with Dr. Taofeek next year. Thank you very much. See you in LSA 2020, and tell people about our discussion in the after. By 3:45 we have another discussion. By 5:30 those are panel presentation. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Continue.